All right, I think we have a few of you guys that have joined. Again, welcome to our webinar and thanks for joining us today. We're going to talk about automated testing for success factors. We have a lot of great things to share with you today and we're excited to kick this webinar off. So, talk a little bit about logistics. Please feel free to ask questions through our chat functionality, which is on the webinar. After this webinar, we're going to send a slide deck and a Q&A list, so we will distribute this to everyone so you can take a look. Also, please note throughout this webinar, we will have poll questions, so feel free to answer those and we'll discuss that. And after this webinar, we will stay online for a few minutes because I know some of y'all will have some questions, so we will have our team here to answer any questions you may have, and then please note that this webinar will be recorded. Today, we're going to talk about why automated testing, the differences between manual testing and automated testing, when to use automated testing, how other people are using automated testing. We'll talk about the advantages between the automated testing services versus a tool. We have our technical guy on the call as well. He's going to do a demo of our service, and then we will talk about the features, our offerings, and the security behind our automated testing service. So to introduce ourselves, my name is Anna Elliott. I lead the sales and marketing behind our automated testing service, 4Deets. On the call, on the webinar today, we have Ron McLam, the president of 4Deets. Tomas Wellikens, he is our solution architect and our technical genius, so he'll be able to explain more in depth about our service and as well answer any technical questions you may have. And then we have our friend here, R4D4. He is our robot, so you'll see him in action as we show our robots doing the automated testing in the works. So, 4Deets is part of HRCAP, and HRCAP is a global leader in HR solutions. As you probably already know about HRCAP, they're located globally in 18 countries with about 1,000 employees. So there's 3 lines of business that we really focus on, and that's advising, implementing, and run. We have a lot of experience and a lot of revenue and growth over the last few years, as well as 1,300 customers that are happy with us. We really focus on our strong partnership with SAP, which I'm going to talk a little bit more about, and that's why we created this service called 4Deets. So 4Deets is part of HRCAP, like I just mentioned. We are a global success factors HCM partner. Our expertise in success factors include our cloud services, our support services, our implementation services, and as well as our testing services, which is why we're here today. We do have a strong knowledge in success factors, which concludes to our SAP recognized expertise, and that is based on our number of certified consultants, number of positive customer references, and the number of go lives within the last 2 years. So as you can see here, we do have SAP recognized expertise, and that's in EC, payroll, talent solutions, recruiting, and onboarding. So we really focus on our customer care and continuous improvement post go live. So that's one reason why we decided to create 4Deets. So 4Deets, as you know, is success factors testing service. We are success factors experts, like I just mentioned, that created an automated testing service. So we're not just an automated service that created a tool for success factors. We actually had the foundation and knowledge behind success factors where we created this service. As you can see here, we have several different clients ranging from 50,000 employees to 5,000 employees. Corning, Boston Scientific, a lot of different industries that use our testing services today. These clients are global or they're local, so with operations in one country or over 120 countries. So we do the whole range of clients. Through our testing services, we offer full coverage with manual and automated, which a lot of clients today use both, so they definitely go hand in hand. But we'll focus a little bit more today on our automated testing services. 4Deets is also in the App Center, so feel free to take a look at us on the SAP App Center. All right, we have a poll question for everyone. We want to know, how often do you test? And we'll launch this poll question right now. All right, we'll wait a few more seconds. All right, looks like we have some people answered, and the winner is periodically. So testing periodically when configuration changes and updates. So it's good to know that most of you guys are testing. We'll definitely talk a little bit more about why you're testing, how you're testing, and the advantages of automated testing. So I'm going to pass it off to Ron, and he's going to discuss further.
Yeah, thanks again for everyone spending a little time with us today. So the first thing I want to talk about is why you should be testing your success factor system, not only periodically, but on a consistent, regular basis. So there's many reasons to test, as you can see here. Two of the most common, which you guys have already answered in that poll question, are with configuration changes. These changes are done periodically and sometimes unplanned. We need to know any of the downstream effects that these changes can make throughout the organization. Another obvious reason to test is with the SAP maintenance updates and releases. Maintenance updates and bug fixes can happen in between the scheduled release updates, and the quicker you identify any issues with these updates, the better. The SAP releases are scheduled updates to success factors. In the new 2020 release schedule, they have allowed a longer preview period. So I don't know how many people are aware of that, but the preview is going from 4 weeks to 5 weeks with the changes they've made in their release schedule. So that's good for testing as well. We anticipate that the releases, since they're reduced in the number of releases per year, the the schedule releases that do come from SAP will be much larger, and hence the longer preview period as well. Also important for testing, for the automated testing, is the browser compatibility. One thing that's great about the automated testing is that we're able to test multiple browsers depending on what you're using in your organization or throughout your organization. If there's no standard, it's very easy and quick for us to go and test those browsers. Also, testing during implementation is important. Automated testing can really speed up that implementation process, especially when you're talking about implementing package solutions such as SAP's Model Company or our Exaserve One package solution. And finally, testing your system for security and data privacy is a must for GDPR compliance and the like. So the manual versus automated testing, although both can provide some level of comfort that your success factors environment is running smoothly, in most cases the benefits of automated testing far outweigh those of manual testing. And here we put together a little table just to kind of identify some of those. So if you look at the first one, risk, there's risk with both types of testing, but obviously with the automated testing, your risks are much lower. Consistency, manual testers can execute test scripts differently from one tester to the next. Automated testing is always going to execute those test scripts exactly the same every time. Speed, kind of a no-brainer here that automated testing is going to be a lot faster and more efficient than manual testing. This goes right into the next one, which is cost per test. It's directly related, obviously, to the speed at which these robots are able to run through these test scripts. Although there is a little bit higher development cost on the automated testing side, the cost per test and the overall testing is reduced significantly with automated testing. And reliability, again, automated testing is far superior than manual testing on this as well. Automated testing can be scheduled to run basically 24/7, 365, nights, weekends, anytime. So you don't have to deal with staffing. You don't have to do that. You can always be sure that your tests are always running accordingly. All right, so why automated testing? So we put together kind of our 4 critical reasons, and we call them the 4 Ds. The first one here is to reduce overall risk. With greater test coverage using automated testing, you can greatly reduce potential security risk and increase compliance with GDPR, kind of what we said earlier when we talked about risk in the previous slide. And number 2 is improved business agility. You know, cloud solutions such as SuccessFactors have allowed businesses to become more agile. Automated testing will help ensure that these cloud solutions run smoothly and in turn continue to improve your business agility. And our third D there is ensure sustainability. Sustainability is really just saying staying up to date with changes in your SuccessFactors environment. You know, that's both changes internally with your configuration changes, SAP releases, SAP maintenance and bug fixes that they push out. So really ensuring sustainability is staying up to date with that fast moving environment that you have. Number 4 is increase user adoption. Here, basically a happy user is a user that's not complaining. So automated testing provides test quality, better test coverage, and ongoing regression testing to increase user adoption. So how companies are using automated testing? Obviously through those releases and maintenance updates, it's important that we're establishing a reference point before the release. This ensures that we can identify if there's any issues after release that are directly related to the release and fix those issues hopefully during that preview period before the release is on your full production environment. Configuration changes and new functionality. Continuous ongoing automated testing helps to identify issues caused by changes within your environment. So we always want to be making sure that we're testing even the smallest changes to make sure they're not affecting something downstream. And as I mentioned earlier, a lot of companies are using this when they're doing implementations, especially on the packaged solutions that are out there, such as SAP's Model Company and Exaserve One. So there's kind of 2 different ways to go about automated testing now in the marketplace. One is automated testing services, and the other is tools for automated testing. And what we talk about here with 4Ds is more of the automated testing services. Examples of some tools out in the marketplace are Worksoft, HP Quality Center, Tricentis, and the like. You know, all of these provide you an opportunity and a platform to execute test automation. However, issues with these tools are that you need to have technical expertise to create your own automated test scripts. This can be time consuming and also have to be continually updated, the test scripts with every update or configuration changes that you make. So if we look at some of these advantages under the services such as 4Ds, is that we have a predefined test library of 1,000, well actually it's well over 1,000 test scripts now. And in most cases, our developers only need to make small changes to allow these scripts to work in your environment. For unique workflows and configurations, our developers are able to build custom test scripts to marry up to your system. And finally, a huge advantage is that when dealing with a service, an automated testing service, is that you no longer have to maintain any of your test scripts. Whenever there's a new release from SAP or there's configuration changes that someone would send to us, we make all the necessary changes to the test scripts and keep them running smoothly. So one important thing that this kind of goes back to the manual versus automated testing. Even with automated testing, you want to make sure that your automated testing is designed with a BDD, and BDD is basically behavior-driven development. It's just a software methodology that is designed to function as an actual user would within that business process. So you have your test scenarios, you have your automated testing strategy, and in the middle there you see you have your business process and your RBP that needs to be tested for every possible scenario that's out there, and that is what behavior-driven development does, where the actual robots function identical as a user would.
All right, so we have another poll question for you guys. We want to know who is responsible for testing within your organization. So we'll go ahead and launch the second poll, and yeah, we'll look forward to your answers. All right, so it looks like 75% say internal testing team. So you have a team dedicated to just testing. So yeah, that definitely can go in hand with our automated testing service. You know, when there's downtime or you don't have enough staff, or another project comes about, you have these automated testing robots that offer the full coverage with all our test scripts that can really, make it easy and fast and cost effective to use. All right, so our testing packages for success factors. As I mentioned a few times, we have 1,000 predefined tests that we adapt to your environment. So they cover all HR talent process within success factors. These can run monthly or on demand. And we develop customer-specific tests as needed. Within all our test packages, we do offer customization within the test. And then these are different modules here that we do cover. As you can see through our performance reward, we have performance, compensation, variable pay, goal management. Our learn and develop, that's learning, career development session, hire to retire, EC and benefits. We do not do payroll. That's one thing we want to make clear is we do not offer payroll testing right now. And then recruit to hire, we cover recruiting and onboarding. Within all of these different modules, we do offer, average around 100 or so tests per module. And then, yeah, with 40, we reduce your regression testing with all our different test packages. So that's just an overview of our different packages that we have for our automated testing. Here's an example of our test library that we have. When our clients do receive this as when they do come on board, they get this test list, which shows all the different tests that we have. Here is an example of Employee Central. So you can see the first few, the test scripts that we have. They're more basic, but we do more complex ones as well. So employee, change address information, change, email information, all of these things that, you want to test within your EC. Next, we're going to pass it off to Tomas, and he's going to show a demo of our robot R4D4 in action. So over to you, Tomas.
All right, thank you. So for this demo, I'm going to show you how our robot goes through an Employee Central pipeline where an employee wants to update her address information. Now, the screen that you see in front of you is our test automation engine, and it's where we're able to manage and run our library of tests. And tests can either be scheduled or you can trigger a test manually by clicking on the play icon on the right side of the screen. And then our engine will look for an available robot to start running the tests, as you can see on the bottom left side of your screen. Do note that for the sake of this demo, we have slowed down our robot, and that makes it easier for everyone to follow what our robot is actually doing. Now, once a test is triggered, our robot proceeds to connect to our secure database in order to retrieve all the required data for this specific scenario. And it will fetch the company details, like what you can see right now. So it has found our company ID, and it also fetched the test user credentials and all the other necessary data to complete this test. So when data is loaded, our robot will launch a browser instance and then go through the steps of a test scenario as if an actual user would be executing this test. So it will navigate to the correct URL, enter all the required data, and then once on the home page, our robot will navigate to this employee's employee profile page, and it will find the address information portlet. So once that is found, the robot will click on the edit button and then update some of the fields in the address line, in the address portlet. Once the robot has filled in the new data and added a comment, it will click on save, and the first part of this pipeline has been completed. Now, this scenario contains 3 smaller tests that are put in a pipeline. Like the first one, what you just saw was that the employee will change the address information. The second one that is running right now is where the employee's manager will approve those changes. And then a third part is where the employee actually verifies if the changes were approved correctly. So in between each of those tests, the robot will open a new browser instance and then navigate through the steps as if an actual user would be navigating through SuccessFactors, clicking on the different tiles, and in this example, as a manager, clicking on approve to approve the address change for this employee. So now the second part of this pipeline has finished, and the third part where the employee is going to log in again and check to see if the changes has been done correctly. So again, our robot retrieved all the data from the database, is now filling in those different fields, has been logged in, and then clicking again on the employee profile tile to navigate to the address information portlet. So we just navigated to the employee profile, and it will find the address information portlet and verify whether the changes have been done correctly. So when all 3 scenarios are done running, a robot will return these results to our test engine, and where it will show that the last run was either successful or failed. And as soon as the tests have finished running, our reporting will also be available. And this is an example of a single test report where you can see that we have one feature file that contains 3 scenarios. So the address change, the approval, and then the verification. And it shows that all 3 of those scenarios were successful. Anna, you can go to the next slide now. All right, so this is another example of reporting that shows more than one test results. So as mentioned before, all of our tests from our library are divided into 4 packages, and we usually provide a test report per package. We're also able to show trends and historical result of each and every the tests that we have. All right. Let's talk about some of the features that we have in our framework. So thanks to the test automation engine that we have, we are able to schedule our tests at any given time, or if needed, we can trigger the tests on demand. So right now we can schedule them daily, weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, or at any time available. We also have multiple robots that can run at the same time, so we will never use too much memory of one robot. So we can divide the workload between all the different robots. Also, our test engine allows us to create reporting so that we can also keep track of the historical results. And our framework allows us to run each and every test with a specific test user profile and test data. Like, for example, there are some recruitment scenarios where you need to start from a senior manager, or where you need a recruiter profile in order to successfully run the complete test. And as all of our test data and test users are securely stored in a database, we're also able to easily change and update test data if required. And also, as Ron already mentioned before, our robot supports multiple browsers. So currently we're able to support all the standard browsers that are on the market right now. And in terms of security, we have everything running on a secured cloud environment, and that means that we do not need to install anything on your environment itself. So everything is running from our cloud engine. And as mentioned before, all the test users and test data, we have it safely stored in our encrypted database. And to make sure that there is no sensitive data left behind on our test engine, after each run, we make sure that the workspace that was used to run those tests is purged, so that there is no trace or no sensitive data left on the work environment. And a more detailed overview of all our security measures can be found in the security white paper that we have available.
Great, thanks, Tomas. One thing we want to note too is, after our tests run, our robots run these test scripts. What we do is, as Tomas mentioned, is we do provide you a report of it. So what you can do with this report is, if you have an internal team that does these fixes for you, then you could pass it to them. Or if you have a support partner, we can, definitely you could pass it on to them. Or we, as I mentioned before, we offer support services as well. So we can fix these tests that fail. It's just whatever you decide to do with that. So now we're going to leave it up to some questions and answers. Definitely, we'll stay online for a few minutes or so and answer all the questions that you may have. So feel free to go ahead and start asking them in the chat functionality. And then as they come, we'll get them answered. So I think we might have one right now to answer.
Yeah, we do. And so do tests include end user and admin use cases? The answer here is yes. And Tomas, you might want to expand on that a little bit more, but obviously some tests do start from the admin side, some from the employee side or the management side.
Yep, indeed. So for each and every test, we're able to tell our robot which user profile needs to be used in order to successfully run a test. We have some admin use cases, and that's just a matter of telling our robot when it retrieves the data from the database, to tell the robot this test needs to run with an admin user, this one needs to be running with an employee profile or with a manager profile. So we can point the robot towards the different profiles depending on which test will be running.
Great. If you have any more questions, we'll wait a few minutes until get some people a chance to ask any questions. Well, we'll definitely send this slide deck over after this webinar, and you have my email here, anna.elliott@xrc.com. Definitely, if you have any questions, feel free to send me an email. We'll definitely get that answered. If I can't answer it, we'll have our technical team answer it. We can schedule additional call if you want to learn more, discuss further, or get other people involved on your team. We're really happy to do that as well. And as I mentioned before, we'll send over this slide deck after the webinar, as well as any questions you may have. Just respond to the email. And then, yeah, if we can help you in any ways in regards to success factors, feel free to reach out anytime. And I really appreciate you guys joining us today as we talk about automated testing for success factors. And I look forward to connecting with you soon. So thanks again and have a wonderful rest of your day.